On a weeknight, whether you are single, whether you have a family, whether you're cooking for just a few people or a lot of people, it is nice to have something that can be quick, go to, but also feel like it took a little bit longer and a little bit more effort. And for me, that is always a roast chicken. It's something you can have in your freezer or your fridge and just have around ready to go. It cooks pretty quickly. You can have it get that delicious kind of crispy skin on it, give you some of that hearty but really healthy meat. It's just my go-to and I love to have it around. And it's always fun just to switch it up or just have a classic one you go back to. So for this, it's kind of my one I always do. We're gonna spatchcock it so it cooks a little bit quicker, so it's perfect for a weeknight. So to start, I wanna do a little bit of a rub, and it's really simple. I'm gonna do a little bit of just room temperature butter. I want it to be somewhat soft, and to that I'm gonna add a few flavorings. So I'm gonna add some Dijon mustard. I think just a little bit of Dijon mustard, especially with chicken and in that rub, just goes so well together. A little bit of salt, and then some pepper. You can do freshly ground. Freshly ground is gonna give you that hit of pepper right away, which I like, and it gives you a little bit more pungent flavor. And then I'm gonna do a couple cloves of garlic, and yeah, I am just gonna press them in there. I love a garlic press in certain applications, and the thing is, it's quick and it's simple, and it's kind of like no mess. You don't have to sit there and mince it really finely. I love that. So I'm gonna put my cloves right in there. I'm gonna squeeze them into that butter mixture. There it is. You can always just take your knife and take it and just pull it right off. So now I can just go in there, kind of put it together. Since the butter is softened to room temperature, it just is easier to do it with your fingers. So what we're doing is creating this butter mixture to go underneath the skin. Just like I do on my turkeys, anything that has a skin like this, chicken, turkey, when you separate it from the meat, it actually makes it more crispy. It makes it that you can add something underneath the skin and make it just a little bit more flavorful, and that's exactly what you want, because butter can sometimes burn on top, or it just kind of can be a little bit too much, but putting it underneath, you're gonna get that good butter flavor. So on the chicken, when you wanna spatchcock it, you could roast it whole, which is totally fine, but then sometimes it roasts unevenly. The bottom doesn't roast as quickly as the top, and it can just be a little uneven. So you have your backbone. When you look at your chicken, you can lay it with the backbone up, and that is right here. I know meat is not the prettiest to look at. Let's be honest, it's not. But you have to get through this part to get to the good part. So you wanna just remove that backbone. And this is what I love about these backbones, is I save them, and this is what I'm gonna use and put in the freezer in my bag of things for stock. These backbones are perfect to use for chicken stock, just to have around for that flavor, even if you just wanna make a quick stock sometime for something that you're doing. So if you have a good sharp knife, you're able just to kind of cut through a lot of those backbones. If you need to, then once you have it somewhat open, you can turn it over, use kind of more of a cleaver and use your pressure just to cut it off. So you get the backbone completely out of there. And now what you wanna do is kind of break it and just push down on the breastbone, and that opens up that turkey and allows it to lay flat. So now what we have is a level playing field pretty much, where this turkey can bake more evenly. So I wanna flavor it with that butter mixture we just made. And so we're gonna put it underneath the skin. So I'm gonna separate the skin and then we'll put it on there. And that's just going in and making sure you have your finger, lightly put it underneath to remove it, but don't tear it. So I'm gonna finish doing this and then we can put the butter in. So I'm putting the butter now in underneath that skin. I'm trying to go all the way out into the legs and the thighs. This turkey, or guys, okay, do I say turkey or do I say chicken? I know, I keep saying turkey because, well, the last time I really did this was with my turkey at Thanksgiving. So obviously with the chicken, I'm gonna put that butter mixture and just keep putting it underneath. So what I love about it, and as you put it on, if your chicken still has a little bit of chill on it, that butter could congeal a little bit and get a little bit hard. Don't worry, it's going in the hot oven. It's gonna melt out. But what's great is all that flavor, that salt, that pepper, that mustard is right on the meat. So it's gonna help flavor and stay right where you want it to. And it's not just gonna drip all the way off as we're roasting. So I'm gonna put this right on my roasting pan. I'm gonna wash my hand, and we're gonna add some potatoes. I like a meal that can be somewhat on one pan. They don't always go that way, and it's not always that easy. But it's really easy with a roast chicken to add some other things. Since we've cut that cooking time a little bit, I have some somewhat small potatoes. Now, some of them have a little bit more size, so it kind of depends what you can find in your markets. But on some of these, I'm gonna just trim them in half, but I'm gonna keep them somewhat whole in big pieces. And then what's nice is Once it's done roasting, we're gonna then smash them. I mean, we've all heard of smashed potatoes. When you take a big, like this size potato, let it roast, and then you can just smash it, and it kind of gives you that more surface area. That's kind of what I'm doing. But for these, I'm doing them around the chicken so they can actually roast with those drippings from the chicken, but also so you don't have to clean up so much, you know? This is what's nice. This goes together pretty simple. You make a rub, you have your chicken, you put it in the oven, even after you get home from work. It's like an hour and you can have a delicious meal. A family or a couple people, whoever is in your life is gonna love it. And it's kind of one of those just delicious kind of winter, easy, hearty meals that you're always gonna like. Now these are Yukon Gold little potatoes. I like the smaller ones because they cook quicker. I also find that they're just more easy to eat and they're just kind of more enjoyable to eat. And you can obviously get quite a few of them around and they're nice and filling. So I'm just cutting them so they kind of have enough to feed the family, which usually one chicken that you get, a roasting chicken, is usually around 4 people. It kind of depends on the size because they can vary. But that's all my potatoes. I can probably fit like 1, maybe more. I kind of like it so the meat stays on the bottom. That way the potatoes get even roasting on top. Now what I want to do is even over the chicken, because I want that skin to get crispy too. It has the butter underneath, but I want to get crispy on top. I'm going to make sure to drizzle my olive oil, not only over all the potatoes, but over that chicken too. So then we're going to get that nice crispy top. We're going to get the butter flavor inside the chicken. The olive oil is going to really just crispen up the top of it. Oh, look at that. That is, to me, this is a good meal. This is exactly what you want. And now I am gonna salt everything too, not just the potatoes, but that chicken too. We put a little bit of salt inside of it, but I want that skin to have that good crispiness too. I'm not saying you have to be like me or my mom, who would always go after skin. My mom's obsessed. But that skin, if you like it, it gets that nice crispiness to it. And if you get that salty kick on it, exactly what you want. I'm gonna put some ground pepper on it too. On that chicken, and it's ready to go in the oven. So I am going to, with these little wings, I'm just going to hide them underneath the chicken if you can. They get kind of burned sometimes when you leave them on top, and if you can fold them down underneath the chicken, they just don't get as yucky then, and they don't get gross. So I wash my hands. I'm gonna throw this in the oven, let it roast. We'll finish it up. Guys, dinner, it could never be easier, and it's a delicious roast chicken. Look at this, so quickly. I love a roast chicken. What is humble, it is delicious, it is quick though, it is easy, it is a weeknight. So at this point, I'm gonna take the chicken, I temped it, I checked the temperature, that's what you always wanna do to know if chicken's done. And now, like any meat, we're gonna let it rest for at least 15 minutes, which is perfect. As it rests, the juices actually kind of wanna recoil back inside so it retains more juice than just cutting it right away. But, so look at this, our potatoes. They're, yes, hot, but I have asbestos hands. I am checking them. So you can always, just to check them, you insert a knife. It comes out with like no resistance. That's how you know that they're pretty much done. So what I'm doing is now spreading them out just slightly for a couple reasons here. We're going to smash them just slightly. So I have a glass and I'm just gonna go through and just kind of chop some of them a little bit. So what that does is it gives a little bit more surface area to brown. You don't have to do this, but I think it makes them easier to serve, but then it helps kind of finish cooking them here when we put them back in. And we're gonna put a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. And I think also, on the smaller ones, you don't have to do it, but this just adds more of that delicious kind of crispy surface area that you kind of just want with a potato. And that just is what makes it perfect. Now, to make this though also then more of a meal, I have broccoli. And I think broccoli is just like that perfect thing to roast with only chicken, but with potatoes and have kind of that green. And I find that kids love roast broccoli. So I have 2 nieces and I have a nephew. My sister is amazing. She cooks awesome meals all the time for them, works so hard at making good meals. My one niece though, no matter what, is the pickiest eater. My other niece will eat anything. But that girl who is a picky eater, you know what she loves? She loves roasted broccoli. And I think a lot of kids actually like it a lot better than, a lot of people would assume. It gets that kind of crispiness to it. It sometimes takes the bitterness away that kids maybe taste with it. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more olive oil, not a lot, but you wanna get that broccoli to get a little bit on it. And that's just gonna help it roast a little bit better. This is also gonna get on some of those new craggy edges of the potatoes. So don't feel bad about that. I'm gonna put a little bit more salt. So the potatoes need to finish cooking just a little bit anyway. So this is the perfect time as that chicken's resting to add something. Broccoli doesn't roast near as long. We're gonna add Parmesan cheese. So I have some fresh Parmesan. I'm just gonna grate that over the potatoes and it will get on the broccoli. So what is great about Parmesan, especially when you finely shred it like this, it doesn't use near as much as you think. So you're using a little bit of Parmesan, but it gives it tons of Parmesan flavor because Parmesan is so rich in those delicious flavors that it doesn't take a lot to make it really taste Parmesan. So I did that. I'm gonna add a little bit more pepper, put that over the top. We're gonna put this back in the oven, let that broccoli roast, let the potatoes finish roasting. Then when it's done, we'll have the chicken cut up. This is a weeknight meal that's elevated, but super simple, super easy. I can't wait for you guys to make it. This is what I love. When you get kind of that, like, I like a crisp, tender broccoli, so you get the bright, beautiful color, some of those crispy edges, but it still has a nice little kind of like crunchiness to it, and that's what you want. So if you wanna be really rustic, you can have your chicken cut up. I cut it up kind of in quarters and I took the wings off. It's kind of up to you however you wanna cook it for your family, but you could even cut it here and have your thighs and legs separated. You cut the breast in half, you know, and if you want to, you could just bring this over, set it back on top, serve it together, whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong, and that's what I love about this. You don't have to have it perfect. You can do whatever you want. So, okay, like, this is gonna be hard to just like eat in front of you guys, but first, let me try some meat. Okay, super moist. And what I love about it is it's flavored just enough. The mustard isn't necessarily forward, but you just get a little bit of that underlying mustard, and with the butter flavor and then that crispy skin on top, it's exactly what I want. The potatoes, I can just tell you instantly how they're gonna be, oh yeah, this is what I like. They're a creamy center, which, look at that. They're getting the brown bits on the bottom, which is what I love. They're soft. They get that good kind of kick from the little bit of Parmesan on top. And then of course, I know, I'm having a whole buffet here. Some broccoli. I love roasted broccoli. It's delicious and it has great flavor. This is a great weeknight meal. It's a great one for your family, great one for loved ones. If you are single, this is great to have and then use throughout the week. Chicken can be used however you want it. Chicken salad, chicken actual salads like on top of the lettuce. You can do anything with it. So I hope you try this. I hope you enjoy it. Most of all, I hope you have fun with it because that's what's cooking. It's what it's all about, is to cook from your heart for your family with nourishment, and it's good. So as always, what helps me the most is when you guys share these videos around. Tag friends, share them to your stories, put them on your walls. That helps me so much, but it also helps so many people see how easy and fun this stuff is. If I can do it, you can do it. We can all do it. So check my website, wiseguide.com. It has this recipe, it has other recipes, so many recipes for you guys and other things, tips, tricks, garden, indoor, outdoor. I'm gonna keep eating because it's here. I hope you do the same because it's good.